Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's very special live session on wealth creation in the global economy. And this session promises to be a very insightful one as we explore key topics such as developing a wealth attracting mindset, monetizing your gifts and talents, and exploring global economic opportunities. My name is Ben Larbi, and I'm honored to serve as the moderator and host for today's session. And for today's session, we're privileged to have as our speaker, Pastor Marcus Gill, who's an author, a global speaker, an entrepreneur, and a pastor. And personally, I consider him as a role model. And I'm so excited to have him share his insights with us. And so at this juncture, I'll proceed to introduce him by reading his profile. So as the founder of Marcus Gill International and Gill House Books, Pastor Marcus Gill has empowered countless individuals to unlock their financial potential. Through his weekly TV broadcast, The Moment of Life, aired on major networks such as ABC, NBC, and the CW network, he inspires believers and non-believers alike to achieve financial freedom. Born on October 11 in New York, Marcus was raised in a Christian home and has desired to serve the Lord since he was a child. Today, he's the founder of Marcus Gill International, based in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's happily married to his best friend, Dominique. She's a school teacher currently completing her doctorate in education administration and the author of the book, Her Purpose Matters. She travels with him and passionately leads praise and worship through song. Lady Gill, as many adoringly call her, is the CEO of the Gill Music Group. That's MGI's music label that produces original praise and worship songs. Pastor Marcus and Lady Dominic have two daughters named Madison and Macy. With a strong online presence, Pastor Marcus reaches millions through social media, sharing inspiring messages, biblical insights, and practical advice on wealth creation and financial stewardship. Pastor Marcus brings a unique biblical perspective to wealth creation, emphasizing faith, wisdom, and stewardship. His approach is built on a deep understanding of biblical principles and a passion for helping individuals overcome financial challenges and achieve prosperity. Marcus Gill International hosts multiple conferences a year around the world, bringing together individuals from diverse backgrounds to learn, grow, and be inspired. These conferences feature dynamic speakers, practical workshops, and opportunities for networking and spiritual growth. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, would you help me welcome Pastor Marcus Gill, our speaker for tonight's session?
Hello, hello, hello. God bless you, my friend Ben, and to all of the viewers and those that are connected online. Tonight, where you are, it's nighttime. Where I am, it's still quite daytime, right in the middle of the day. But I'm honored for this highly esteemed opportunity to be able to connect with you. Brother Ben, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Looking forward to this great conversation. For those that may be hearing me for the first time, brother, you did a fantastic job reading that bio. It's quite extensive, but thank you for sharing that. But, my message and mission is simple. I believe that my purpose on earth is to eliminate. You can write these down. All right. It's good to just go ahead and start taking notes or jotting some things down as you want, because as I'm sharing my purpose with you, perhaps it will inspire your purposes as well. But my purpose is to eliminate, educate, and elevate. Those are my three core agendas as far as why I speak, why I preach, why I write books. My goal is to eliminate, educate, and elevate. Now, why am I sharing that with you? I believe that every individual, every organization, every church, every business should have its core theme. Always have a theme. Always have a direct message. If somebody asks you, what are you here for? What is your business here for? What is your church here for? Always have a theme that you can answer with quickly, and then people know exactly why you do what you do. So, in terms of my core theme, it's to eliminate, right? I named eliminate, educate, and then elevate. So, eliminate. What do you mean, Brother Marcus? I want to always speak in a way and share information in a way through my books, through my preaching, through social media, whatever it may be, podcasts, anything, lectures. I always want to be able to share enough information that will help to discard the wrong thinking. There are a lot of concepts and ideologies that we have adapted over the years that are wrong. It comes from tradition. It comes from another person's personal experience. It comes from fear. All right. There are a lot of ideologies and thoughts and ethics that we've taken on over the years that are wrong. And you get to a point like I did in my life where I said, you know what? I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to be successful. And the most difficult thing for me to do was to let go of the thoughts, the ideologies, and the patterns that were deposited into me over the years, especially being a Christian man, being a church guy. I don't know how many of you watching are into the church or you're Christians or believers, but at least here in America, there are a lot of traditions and a lot of practices that have nothing to do with God, nothing to do with his word, yet we operate under a spirit of fear because of what we were taught. And one day I was preaching and I was talking about casting away. I was talking about not casting away your confidence. And I had to preach that message because so many people are taught that confidence is a bad thing, or that confidence is evil, or confidence is arrogance. When the Bible clearly says in Hebrews 10:35, cast not away your confidence, for it comes with great recompense of reward. So the Bible tells us, cast not away our confidence or our faith, but yet man will tell us to always be so humble and never walk in so much confidence, because if you're too confident, you become arrogant, and if you become arrogant, that's pride, and pride comes before a fall. And I had to detox my mind from that to realize that no, confidence is actually necessary. If you're going to take on a wealth mindset, I know that's one of our talking points today, right? Having a wealth mindset, you must have a confident mindset. All right? And so my goal is to eliminate the wrong thinking. If you're listening to me today and you've been taught to be overly or excessively humble, I'm telling you the truth there, brothers. You're going to miss out on increase. You're going to miss out on certain phases and seasons of success that belong to you if you always play the overly humble role. You got to hold your head up, stick your chest out. You got to be bold and confident in the fact that you are deserving. You've worked hard, you've studied hard, you've prepared yourself, and you are worth the wealth that you're attempting to attain. So eliminate the thinking of, I've got to always be the small guy. Eliminate the thinking that says, I've always got to take second, third, fourth, or fifth place in order to stay humble and please God. Eliminate the thought that says, the less you are, the more God is glorified. There's a certain space for that. But when it comes to you having an abundant life, when it comes to you having success, when it comes to you tapping into your wealthy place, God wants you to be confident. Because after all, the Bible even tells us, Psalm 35:27, the Lord takes pleasure in the prosperity, in the well-being of his servants. So if God takes pleasure in you being wealthy, successful, living in abundance, why must we always feel like we got to crush ourselves and become so meek and lowly and just almost live as if we believe that we're nothing in order to have the prosperity that God himself promised us? So eliminate. That's my goal. Eliminate. Humility without confidence is weakness. I'll say that one more time because I'm sure you want to write that down. Humility without confidence is weakness. Confidence without humility is arrogance. Because there's some people that are confident and they have no mark of humility on their life. Well, that's the arrogant person we're talking about. We don't want to be that person. But confidence and humility put together equals great power. Confidence and humility yoked together, working hand in hand. Marry confidence with humility, and you will have what? Great power. That's where you want to be as you prepare to embark upon the continuation of your journey or a new journey towards your wealth, your riches, your success, and your life of abundance. You want to be confident and you want to be humble. Mix them together. Know who you are, but be humble enough to be able to pause for others. Humble enough to still remain, number one, what? Teachable. To be able to learn, to be able to take advice. I wrote something on social media earlier, and I said, to be taught by one who is great is an invitation to greatness. Correction is not a crushing. Correction is cultivating. All right. So as we are humble, we are still confident. Confidence is key in this journey when it comes to developing the right mindset for wealth. You've got to see yourself worthy. You've got to see yourself as a worthy candidate for wealth, for increase, for success. All right. And if you believe that, you can just nod your head. You can say amen right where you are and walk with me. So we want to eliminate all the wrong thinking. I was preaching one time and I was teaching on Hebrews 10 and 35. And the pastor who hosted me, he got it when I was done. And he told the church, he said, congregation, I believe we just had a good spiritual detox. Now, you know, a detox is when you get rid of whatever's just kind of wasteful, just kind of in your body. Well, he said a spiritual detox in terms of my message helped to what? Discard wrong thinking. And so at that day, I realized, I said, well, I believe a part of my purpose is to eliminate. But then a part of my purpose is to educate. I love to teach. I want to give information. I want to enlighten people. I want to help with your ascension. Every time you hear me speak, every time you read a book, I want to help with your ascension. To ascend means to be aware, heightened awareness, all right? Heightened knowledge, heightened success. Where you are right now is not where you're supposed to be forever. And so, like I said a minute ago, being teachable is one of the greatest prerequisites for wealth, one of the greatest prerequisites for success. And having a wealth mindset requires one to be teachable. And so one of the reasons why I'm as successful as I am, and there's so much more ahead of me, is because I am teachable. I'm never too big to learn. I'm never too big to take a word of advice. Not too long ago, one of my great mentors, Dr. A.R. Bernard, he sent me a text message, and there was something that he saw me doing on television, or something I said on television, and he gave me a text and let me know that what I said wasn't wrong, but it wasn't wisdom. And so I received the correction. You know why? Well, I love to be educated. As much as I love to educate, I love to be educated. Watch this here. If you learn to be teachable, favor will come with continuity. Now, somebody like Dr. A.R. Bernard, if you don't know who that is, you can look him up. I preach at his church quite often. I fill in for him in his absence. And he's taken me as another son. And I didn't say, well, man, I'm Marcus Gill. I've got this, I've got that. I know what I'm talking about. No, I say, yes, sir. I'm a good student. Now, next time I have that same type of opportunity, I will go into that opportunity better, with more wisdom, articulating my thoughts better. And guess what that will lead to? That'll lead to bigger pay. That'll lead to more book sales. That'll lead to more speaking engagements that will pay me handsomely. What has that done? Me being teachable opened the door for me to have more opportunities to demonstrate excellence. And when we demonstrate excellence, guess what we have? We get a payday. And I believe you're on here today because you want to get paid. You want to build wealth. So as much as I love to educate, guess what I also love? I love to be educated. Never buy a boat that you found underwater. That's an old African proverb. Never buy a boat that you found underwater. You know what that means? That's stupid. It doesn't make sense. It's not useful. You can already tell that it's been damaged and it cannot do what you need it to do. Why purchase a boat that's already underwater? No, I'm going to purchase a boat that's on the water, looking beautiful, moving roundabout, being talked about, and shows itself to be worthy of its purchase. Likewise, it is when it comes to us developing a wealthy mindset. Why are we spending so much time with people who are not successful? Why are we spending so much time with people who have no evidence of success and no evidence of wealth, no evidence of even knowledge? It's almost like somebody, again, buying a boat that's underwater. Doesn't make sense. Developing a wealth mindset means that, yes, I love to educate, but I still don't mind being educated. You've got to surround yourself with people who have the life that you desire to have. You've got to be intentional about connecting with people who are demonstrating wealth, increase, success, stability, integrity. All those wonderful characteristics that we find in the book of Galatians when Paul describes the fruit of the Spirit and the character traits of the fruit of the Spirit. Find people that are carriers of what you want. And you get next to them, not to talk a lot. You get next to them to glean from them, to learn from them, to pull on them. Not to use them and abuse them, but the more you surround yourself with people who have not only a wealth mindset, but they actually have wealth, the more you learn, and what's on them will eventually rub off on you. So connection is very, very, very important when developing a wealth mindset, because the conversations that you have, their demonstration of character, you see how they dress, you see how they speak, you see how they live, you see how they respond to things, you see how they respond to success, and you see how they respond to failure. You see how they respond in pleasantries, you see how they respond in conflict, and you learn those things, and it becomes a part of who you are. And then you end up manifesting that same presence when you're solo. And then people are gravitating now towards you, wanting what you have, because now you're a carrier of a gift, of an anointing, of a level of success that a mentor, of somebody that you watched, had on their life. Write this down. We obtain what we observe. All right? I'll say that one more time. We obtain what we observe. What you observe, you obtain. What you watch, who you watch, you begin to imitate and even possibly sometimes emulate, because there are people that I've learned from, and thankfully, with all humility, I say this, I've now soared past them. So imitation is one thing, but to emulate is another level. You've done how they've done, you've learned how they've developed, you've learned from them, and now you've soared past some of your mentors. Some of you watching me now have probably already done that, or you're getting ready to experience that. So connections are very, very, very important. And I know for the sake of time, oh my goodness, I've got so many points and so many things I can share with you. I hope we can have a part 2 to this sooner than later. But another piece of this in terms of the mindset, before I get into the monetization part, you have to be consistent. Matter of fact, that's kind of into the monetization part, but I'll get into that in a moment. You must be consistent. You have to have a mindset of consistency. Don't have the mindset that says that your success, your abundance, or your wealth is going to be temporary. Don't take on that mindset, please, by all means. Don't take on the mindset that says my success, my wealth is going to be temporary. All right? That's not where we want to go. We want to have the mindset that says that my wealth, my success is going to come with continuity. That's where you want to be on this journey. success, wealth, riches, accomplishments, achievement in my life. You got to say this to yourself. They all come with continuity. And in order to have wealth, in order to have success, in order to have the height of achievement with continuity, not just one time like most people have. A lot of people have what we call a one-hit wonder. They have their 15 minutes of fame and that's it. Not you. You got to have a mindset that says, if I start today, it's not going to end in a week. It's not just going to be for a season. My wealth, my success, me experiencing the height of achievement, it's going to come with what? Continuity. It's going to be a continuation of manifestations in my life. And that's the type of mindset you must have. Who cares if you come from a poor family? Who cares? That means nothing to you, other than the fact that it will serve as a motivation. It will serve as a motivational tool for you to make sure that your children and your children's children don't come up in poverty. My childhood was spent in a trailer park. Now, a trailer park in the U.S., if you're familiar with it, that's the lowest of the lowest, right before poverty or let's just say homelessness. If you can get a trailer, you're doing all right. I was raised as a little boy in a trailer park, and then thankfully my father joined the Army, and we were able to live in quarters that were provided by the military. And eventually my father was able to do a little bit better for us, and he eventually bought a house. But my childhood, I was in a trailer. Even in my adulthood, I lived in the attic of my grandparents' house. That was maybe, how old is Madison? Madison's 7, so 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was living in the attic of my grandparents' house. Dominique and I got married, and we lived in a basement apartment. Rats and all kind of rodents running around us. In my attic, I would have bats flying around while I was sleeping, and I would have to get up and kill them. Burning up hot, no AC, nothing. But I had a wealth mindset. I still got up and dressed up like I was wealthy. The little money that I did have, I would still go to the very fancy, exquisite restaurants, and I would order an appetizer or just get a salad, or sometimes I just go get a coffee and ask for a little side salad, maybe spend $12. But what did I want to do? I did that because I wanted to be in those atmospheres. I wanted to just be in the environment. I would go to car dealerships with cars that I drive now, but at that time I couldn't afford a Porsche and Maseratis and Mercedes and all that stuff. I would go and I would just go walk the parking lots, and I would go touch the cars and just sit in them and smell them. I would drive through neighborhoods. I live in the #1 neighborhood in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina now, right on the ocean, on a golf course now. But once upon a time, I would just drive through neighborhoods and take pictures in front of houses that I thought, that I knew at that time were far beyond my reach. But I just knew if I could just get around it and feel it, one day it would become my reality. And guess what? God still isn't finished with me yet. He still isn't through. He's still working on me. I still got so many more great things to accomplish. But I'm giving you this to help you to develop your wealth mindset. This is the last point I'll make, and then we'll talk about monetization. But write this down. Feel yourself in your wealthy future in advance. All right? Write that down. Feel yourself in your wealthy future in advance. All right? I hope you're taking notes. What do I mean, feel yourself? What did I just tell you? I went to restaurants that I couldn't afford, but I would find the cheapest meal on the menu, and I'd get it just to be in the atmosphere, feeling myself in my wealth in advance. Walk through stores where the clothing items are far more expensive than what I could afford. I was doing what? Just walking through. And if I happened to find something on a sales rack that was real cheap that I had the money for, I would just buy it just to have the bag. What was I doing? I was feeling myself in my wealthy future in advance. All right? Car dealerships, neighborhoods. Feel yourself in it. Watch this. Go to charitable events and make a donation. Somebody else may be giving $100,000, $50,000, $1,000. You give your best. Show up. I would show up at charity events, and sometimes all I would have was maybe $20, $50. But guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to participate. I just wanted to feel like I was a part of something. Sure, my donation of 25, maybe $50 didn't mean nothing to the organization. But for me, I was giving. I was a donor. I said, I'm going to be a part of this philanthropy one way or another. What was I doing? I was feeling myself in my wealthy future. Now we make donations in astronomical numbers and have made donations astronomically. I think a few years ago, I think one year I gave away $1 million to about 10 different churches. What was I doing? Once upon a time, I could give a $10 donation. Then it became a time where I can give a $50,000 donation. Feeling myself in my wealthy future in advance. That's a part of the wealth mindset. All right. So I hope you got something from that part. Now I want to share something with you real quick about monetization. How to monetize. All right. First of all, you have to monetize your natural abilities. All right. Your natural abilities. I'm not talking about what you've gone to school for. I'm talking about you tapping into your natural gifts. I went to school for music business. Now, fortunately, that was one of my natural gifts. But I went to school for it to perfect my craft so that I can, know how to manifest my music professionally. I wanted to learn how to read. I wanted to make sure I understood music theory and music business. So I went to school for music. However, today, the bulk of my income has not come from what I went to school for. The bulk of my income, the bulk of my increase has come from me using my natural gift to speak, to write, and to be creative. If you really want to monetize well in this season of your life, you're going to have to tap into your inner creativity. Your creativity is what counts today, because the money's going to flow for you when you solve a problem that needs to be solved. When you do something that the world needs that nobody else is willing to do. For me, yes, it was preaching the gospel on social media. Because maybe about, let's say, 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago now, social media was just for posting funny things, funny memes, getting online, saying hi to your friends, and maybe every now and then you'll see people posting a quote. Well, when the live feature was introduced and the video feature was introduced, I decided that I was going to post video messages of me preaching by the beach. What was I doing? Well, most folks waited until Sunday to hear a sermon. But a lot of Christians don't mind hearing a sermon every day. A lot of people had to wait until they got home to turn on the TV to hear a sermon. But with social media, guess what they had in their pocket? A mobile device. They had Facebook. They had YouTube. I'm not so big on YouTube, but Facebook, I have 2.6 million followers. And our reach is at about 10 million per week now. Some weeks it's up to 50 million, depending on if I post something and it really goes viral. But what happened? People could get the word of God any time of the day. They can hear a message any time of the day. And what did that do? That turned into people partnering with our ministry. That turned into me having speaking engagements, not just around the United States, but all around the world. 2017, I had my first trip to the continent of Africa, and I visited the country of Nigeria to preach and do my first crusade in Nigeria and all of Africa. Looking forward to coming back. It turned into book deals. I signed a book deal with Charisma Media, Charisma House Books. And from that, everything just has grown and grown and grown and expand limitlessly. And I'm talking financially. What happened? I monetized my natural gift. People want to pay you for what you can do. You are the antidote to something that needs to be fixed in the world. I can't tell you what that is. I can only tell you how to tap into it. All right. And this is the key that I'm going to give you in terms of tapping into that. If you don't know what it is, one of the greatest ways to discover your natural niche is to discover what makes you mad. What in the world do you want to see changed or enhanced? 9 times out of 10, the thing that makes you the angriest It's your purpose. Your frustration is the motivating factor behind you doing something about it. Something that you see in the world, in your community, in your church, wherever, that needs to be enhanced, that no doubt is a part of your purpose, because your desire to see it enhanced means that you can quite possibly be the one to make it better. You are the enhancer of that thing. All right. I don't really care too much about teaching in schools. That's my wife's passion. That's my wife's purpose. She loves the school buildings and loves putting together lesson plans and loves children. And I'll tell you the truth, my friends, I don't really have a big passion for lots of children. I don't do well with that. I don't do well with planning lesson plans. I don't do good with noise and kids and people running around. Nope. So guess what? I know that that's not my purpose. I know that I can't monetize that because that's not my purpose. My wife monetizes it. But you know what I do? I hate seeing terrible quality in terms of video productions. I can't stand when I go to a church and I hear their sound system bad or I see their video production is not good. So guess what I know? I know that that's my opportunity to step up to the leader and say, hey, you need help with your video production at your church. Can I help you? They say, yeah. So guess what that turns into? It turns into work, which turns into a paycheck. But guess what I was? I was the antidote to a problem that needed to be solved in that church. Sometimes I look on folks' social media and I see pastors doing certain things on social media that I say, oh man, that's tacky. That looks horrible. It's only bothering me because that's my passion. That's my purpose. And if I reach out to them and offer to fix it, guess what it does? It creates an opportunity for income. Now they can pay me to fix it for them. So monetizing your gift, monetizing your social media, it requires creativity, the discovering of your purpose. It requires, like I said earlier, I told you it was going to all intertwine, but it requires consistency. You can't work your work or work your vision or make a post online and think that you're going to make $1,000 off that post because you did it one time. You got to continue to post. You got to continue to share. You've got to continue to introduce yourself. You've got to go knock on the doors over and over and over again until you get a consistent answer, until the finances flow with continuity. Most people, they do something once or twice and say, oh, I didn't get the results I wanted. And then they give up. You cannot monetize like that. You cannot monetize like that. Monetization comes with consistency. It comes with excellence. It comes with creativity. And it comes when you tap into your God-given purpose. And so I'm encouraging you, my friends, take what you have, introduce it. I heard somebody say some time ago, they said 99 no's may be required before you get the one yes that will change your life forever. Now, that means you asked 100 times, and out of those 100 times, you got one yes. 99 no's may be required until you get the yes that changes your life. One of my closest friends from college, his name is Monshell Moore. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I remember in college, he was always very aggressive, always doing things, always involved in things, pushing forward, doing some big things. And I always asked Monshell, I said, man, where do you get this drive from? And he told me way back then, we were maybe 21, 22 years old. And he said, I'm not afraid of no. And that stuck with me. I'm not afraid of no. So the Bible says it in Psalm 112, verse number 3, wealth and riches shall live in your house. It also declares in Proverbs 10 and 22, the blessing of the Lord maketh one rich and addeth forth no sorrow. Deuteronomy 8 and 18, forget not the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth. God has given you the power to get wealth. How does he give you the power to get wealth? He's placed something in you that the world needs. And you've got to discover it. You've got to put that thing to work. And you've got to be creative with it. You've got to be consistent with it. And you've got to be excellent. Wealth doesn't come to people who duplicate what somebody else done. Wealth comes to inventors. The word in the Greek is the word neos, Neos, neos. It means to be created. It means fresh. It means new. All right. Reward and honor only comes to those who have done something that has never been done before. That's what makes you a game changer. That's what makes you a legend. All right. And so you can monetize. Remember those thoughts I gave you. Monetize. Set up your, I don't know all the systems you have, Brother Ben, there in Ghana, but here we have like Cash App, we have Zelle, we have PayPal. Make sure that all of those links are available wherever people can find you. Make sure that links for people to give and purchase your products and support your businesses, support your organizations. Make sure that all financial payment processors, online especially, make sure that they're available on all of your websites, on all of your social media, on all of your business cards. Make sure people can quickly see it. Make sure people don't have to look for it, because people will see your work, they will see your excellence, and they will want to purchase, they will want to sow into you, they will want to donate and just bless you to help you expand financially. Make sure that you keep all of those applications available and easy to find. In fact, for me, I have a a little card, a little digital card that I made. I'll show it to you here while we're online. But one time I had a gentleman walk up to me when I was doing some content by my marina here where all our boats are. And he said he wanted to make a sizable donation to my ministry. And when I say sizable, it was real sizable what he said he wanted to do. And when he asked me for my information, I did not have it ready. I never got that donation. So now I don't know if the guy was pulling my leg or not, because anytime somebody really wants to do something, they will pursue you to make it happen. But I didn't have the information ready, and he needed my wire information, and I didn't have it ready. But guess what the Lord gave me? He showed me, Marcus, always have it in your phone. You see that there? I don't know if y'all can see it, but this is my bank wiring information. The number is always ready. Let me see. I don't know if y'all can see that there. All right. The number is always ready, so that if somebody walks up to me and they say they want to help to monetize what I got going on, guess what? I don't have to say, oh, I got to call my accountant, or I don't know the number, let me look it up. Nope. I got it ready in my phone, pull right up, and I say, here you go. Make that transfer right now. Guess what I'm doing? I'm prepared for the monetization. I'm prepared for the wealth. I'm prepared for the increase. Get your bank information. Have it ready, because you never know when your big contract, when your big opportunity is going to come for you to monetize your gift and monetize your vision and your work. And you want to be ready. You don't want to be fumbling around and, wondering, oh my goodness, I don't know if you still use World Remit and all that stuff, but you don't want to be fumbling. You want to be ready for that money. That's a part of the wealth mindset. Guess what? You will experience what you expect. I'm expecting somebody to walk up to me somewhere and say, hey, I watch your ministry. I want to make a $1 million transfer right now. And guess what? I'm not going to miss that. Why? I'm expecting it. Therefore, I'm prepared for the monetization. I'm prepared. If somebody says, man, I want to order 1,000 copies of your book right now. How do I transfer the money to you so that you can get it going? Boom, there's the wire information. It's right here. I'll airdrop it to you. Whatever, right? What you expect, you will experience. But expectation requires preparation. Monetization requires preparation. All right? So stay prepared on that level. Monetize, monetize, monetize. And don't be afraid to share your products. Don't be afraid to advertise your business, your skills, your ability, your services. Be bold about it. Remember, it goes back to confidence. Aha. See, all this is going to connect, of course. It goes back to confidence. Be bold, post, use social media to the utmost. It's free. And ever so often, you can even boost your posts so that more people can be aware of your presence. All right? The larger the audience you have, the more you can monetize. I tell people all the time in our sessions, grow your crowd and you'll grow your cash. All right? grow your crowd, and you'll grow your cash. Now, I want to pause real quick. Brother Ben,
Hi.
how is this going so far?
Yeah, so far so good. I'm taking lots of notes here.
Is this an opportunity to take any questions?
Yes, when you're done with your presentation, we'll
Okay,
do a Q&A session. Yeah.
do a Q&A. Okay, great. So briefly, and I've got to talk, and I told you, man, it's a lot of information. I'm still holding back quite a bit because of time. I know we only have an allotted amount of time, but this is very simple. Doing this on a global level. I know the last part of the conversation was how to embrace wealth creation on a global level. I've done that as well. I have done ministry. I've done business on every continent. Of course, I have not been to every country, but I frequent the Caribbean islands outside of the U.S. I frequent the UK, Europe, Germany. I told you I've visited Africa, Nigeria only. I've only visited Nigeria. And I plan to get to Ghana and South America and quite a few other places, Kenya, Uganda. I've been to the United Arab Emirates to speak and to host leadership conferences, success conferences. What I've learned is we have to eliminate box thinking. All right. Doing this on a global level, you must eliminate box thinking. Let me give you a secret just in case you didn't know. Your territory, your city, is not the only place where you can be successful. We have an entire globe. We have multiple continents. We have multiple oceans and seas that you can cross over and find success. And here's the good news. As much as I love being in person, and I'll never stop doing that, with the advancements in technology that we have, you can make impact in places that you may never step foot on, places you may never fly to, places that your passport may never be stamped, but you can still make impact in those places without being physically present. But you got to think outside of the box. Even for me, right now, I'm here in the United States in Myrtle Beach in my home, and I'm speaking to you there overseas. I'm making impact in the moment. This right here is global impact. It's on a small scale for now, but it can grow and grow and grow. And eventually we show up in person. Eventually we bring books, we bring materials. You sell your products, because wealth is all about consumer increase. All right. Investment increase. Okay. Connections and participation. All right. It's all about connectivity. Grow your audience internationally. Grow your audience globally. I told you before, the greater your crowd, the greater your cash. Your crowd does not have to be limited to the people who speak the same language you speak, live in the same community you live in, or live in the country you live in. You can expand and enlarge your territory. You can have audiences, you can have customers and consumers in all different parts of the world now, and especially with the advancements of technology, Amazon and oh my goodness, so many of the online platforms, social media. All right. Learn different cultures, learn different ways before you go into those cultures. One thing about me, and I'm just using myself as an example in terms of my preaching and teaching of the word of God, people always tell me they don't understand how I can go to different countries where there are different cultures. Even within the confines of Christianity, there are so many different cultures and ways to worship and ways that people are received. And I'm able to literally cross-pollinate into so many different cultures all around the world. And people say, how in the world do you do it? And I tell them, before I go into a place, I study the culture. I learn the language. A message that I can preach in New York may not be the same message that I need to preach in Ghana, or the same way that I preach in Grenada may not be the same way that I preach in the United Kingdom or in the United Arab Emirates. The way that I dress to minister the word of God in the British Virgin Islands may not be the same way that I would dress to preach the word in California. Are you following me? So, creating wealth or creating your success and having it to expand beyond your own borders, it requires the indulging in research, discovering other cultures, and being willing to step outside of your own way in order to satisfy those who could potentially become your lifetime clients or consumers. In my case, it's readers, it's parishioners, it's partners, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Be willing to discover how you can make impact beyond your territory. Do it with people who don't look like you. Embrace those that have different political views. So what? I had to share that at a church not too long ago because here in the United States, oh my God, politics are dangerous. God is a God of government, but he's not a God of politics. We are people of politics. And unfortunately, we have to deal with politics. And there's so many people that miss out on wealth. They miss out on opportunities. They miss out on potential clients and consumers simply because they don't vote the same or they don't have the same political view. I learned to say, so what? You've got to be bipartisan when you want to be wealthy. When you want to be a good businessman or businesswoman, you've got to be bipartisan. You don't have a party. You're your own entity under God. And when you take on that type of mindset and that framework, let that framework be at the forefront of your networking. You can mix and mingle with anybody from East Africa, West Africa, United States, Asia, Europe, wherever you go, South America. You're able to make impact wherever. And that's the platform for you discovering your global wealth creation and global success. I want to be blessed. I want to be successful all around the world. And the Lord has blessed me to do that, and I plan to continue to do so. All right, Brother Ben, I know we only have a few minutes, but I'll let you take the floor from here. I hope that I inspired somebody, hope that I encouraged somebody, and I hope that you feel just a little bit elevated by the conversation so far.
Oh, just when I was enjoying the presentation, I was hoping you would keep going. But anyway, thanks so much for that. Yeah, very insightful as always. And I got lots of nuggets from your presentation. And, I think I'll chip in my personal comments later. But at this juncture, would proceed to the Q&A session. So if you have any questions for Pastor Marcus Gill, do feel free to drop the question in the chat box, or you can raise your hand virtually and you'll be given the opportunity to ask your question.
Oh, okay. I think I want to do my quick. Thank you so much, Pastor. This is very insightful. I think it has energized my holiness to another level. Thank you. God bless you. Now, I want to find out, because I know that if you want to stand out differently as a Christian in terms of finances, you are not going to get it easy. How did you embrace the criticisms? Because sometimes it's a form of demotivation to move on. How did you overcome it? How did you build that resilience, that emotional intelligence to continue what you are doing? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful comments. I appreciate you. You know what? For me, it was mentorship. Yes, you're exactly right. As a Christian, pursuing money comes with a lot of criticism. You are exactly right, especially being a preacher and on social media, how we sell our books and we invite people to sow a seed and things like that. It comes with a lot of criticism. But because I have good mentors, great pastors that are men of integrity, women of God that are women of God of integrity, and they were doing the same thing. They were the ones who encouraged me and said, Marcus, as long as your heart is in the right place, God is pleased and God will continue to bless your work. Our motives have to always be in the right place. Luxury cars isn't my motivation for finances. My motivation for finances is to be able to help people. That's what I love to do most. The only financial trouble that I've ever found myself in was because I've given away too much. So I've given so much. I've given away more money than I've spent on myself. And that's the only area I've got in trouble. Anytime where I find myself saying, oh man, I'm running low, it's because I was giving. And that's even another lesson. You know, sometimes we can give too much and it's no longer seed because we're giving just kind of out of compulsion. But I got around my mentors, people in my life who are advanced. They reminded me, as long as what you're doing is with the right motive, God is going to bless it. And here's another piece that I want to give you, what also keeps me motivated. The critics are not going to support you anyway. Those people who are critical of your success, they're critical of your wealth, they're critical of how you get your money, they're not supporting you anyway. So why would we change and be nervous and be worried about what the critics think when there are people who don't mind you doing what you do the way you do? And they want to give, they want to support, they want to buy your products, they want to become your consumers or partners. All right, they want your books. They can't wait for you to give them an invitation to sow a seed or purchase a product or invite you to speak. And they want to know, how can I be a blessing to you financially? So I don't focus on the critics. The critics aren't going to help my wealth anyway. They're not going to help your wealth. They just criticize, and they will stay in the same place all their life while you continue to advance. Focus on those who are glad to see you prosper and who are willing to participate in your prosperity. Focus on those people. And the critics won't matter, and you'll remain motivated, just as I have, to continue to do what you do in your own unique way as a Christian. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was a submission from Mrs. Mavis Bermudez. She's the CEO of Cardinal Security, which is a leading company in Ghana. So thank you for your submission. Okay, now, Pastor, I'm trying to choose the right words. What marked the turning point in your life? I remember you shared your personal story, and you mentioned that you started off doing minimum wage jobs. So what would you say marked the turning point, the light bulb moment in your financial life or work?
That's a good question, Brother Ben. I would say the turning point for me was when my first daughter died. Her name was Zelia. She lived to be about 3 weeks old. She was a healthy baby girl. And suddenly one Sunday, she just stopped breathing. Rushed her to the hospital, and the medical doctors discovered that she had a brain disease that took her out of this world. She's with the Lord Jesus now. But that was the turning point in my life. There's some details within that I really can't dive into now publicly. However, when she passed away, I felt that I owed her a successful life. I took it within myself. I said, you know what? I'm not going to let my life go to waste, knowing that I had a baby girl here that is now home with Jesus. And that was when I said, I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to produce. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to go above and beyond in terms of my thinking to make my baby girl proud. The same way that I would have worked to make sure that she had a good life on earth, I'm going to work like that. And that's when I stopped wasting time with the wrong people. I stopped sleeping around all day. I stopped depending on a minimum wage 9-to-5 job. I stopped submitting myself to authority that wasn't productive. And I decided I'm going to get out here and I'm going to use my God-given gifts and I'm going to get rich. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to preach the gospel. I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to live as if I've got to make this baby girl proud. And when we had her funeral, I preached the funeral. I did the eulogy, which was shocking for a father to preach his own daughter's message. I preached the message. What I didn't know was that when it came time for her burial, the funeral director, the mortician, because she was a baby, I could literally hold her casket. They told me that you have to get in the ground and you have to put her body in the ground. And so I didn't know that. That was to my surprise. And so I took the casket and I got down in the dirt and I placed her body in the ground. However, I believe something spiritual took place in that moment, because when I came out of the ground, I believe I came up a new man with a new mindset, with a new level of motivation. And that was the turning point in my life. From there, I have only gone up. And I plan to continue to move up. Sometimes it takes crisis for us to tap into our creativity, but it's crucial. You never know how God is going to use our ugly moments to beautify our lives. Romans 8:28, right? Paul said, and we know all things work together for the good of those who love God and for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. So that was the turning point in my life, brother.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing all this with us.
Yes.
And my condolences on that personal loss. And I am inspired by your story, by your resilience, and how you managed to turn that loss into fuel and motivation to go higher. And I love the scripture you mentioned. That happens to be my anchor verse. I truly believe, and I say it every day, that everything happens for our good eventually. All things, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's right.
I thank you so much for sharing with us.
Of course.
So, yeah. So, any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? We have a very intimate gathering tonight. Any questions? Any submissions? I've seen we have Bernard Calvin Clive. He's a very prolific author. Bernard, I don't know if you have any comments to make. Okay, if not.
No, I think it's a good presentation. In the presence of greatness, you don't speak, you keep quiet and listen. Thank you.
Okay, so I think you've touched on basically every question I had in mind, how to monetize your gift. And I like what you said earlier on about the importance of confidence, that it's okay to be humble, but you have to balance that with confidence as well. And that you have to show up and show out strong in the world. And if you don't, you'll be passed over when opportunities and promotions come. And
yeah, that's a fact that I live by. And remember, it doesn't make you arrogant. However, you can't always be the person that takes the back seat. I've had family members that I watch do that, being very gifted, highly anointed, and having so much great potential. And every time an opportunity presents itself to advance, they take the back seat. And I just always said I did not want to be that guy. And I had to learn through the word of God that that doesn't mean that you're overly confident or that you're arrogant or that you're pompous or pious. But with humility, it's okay. Be bold about your pursuits. Be bold about what you make a priority in your life. Be bold about being a taker. All right. The violent, take it by force. Go and take your success. Go and take. Be the best in your city. Be the expert in your area. Be the number one call. Be the number one choice in your area of expertise. When people are looking for what it is you do, make sure that the word on the street is that you're the best in town, and you announce it. Yes, I'm the best. I'm number one. I'm top class. Come to me. All right. And that's how you'll continue to have success with continuity. It will be overflowing in your life.
Hello, good evening. First of all, I would say we have 24 hours in a day. So the fact that you've taken some few minutes to share some knowledge and life experience with us is genuinely appreciated. Thank you. And now let me move to my question. My question is centered around social media, right? You have mentioned monetization, which is an exciting opportunity. However, I'm curious, does monetization always work? Because sometimes, right, I feel like our videos or pictures don't reach the intended audience or generate the kind of engagement we expect. Because in some cases, we wouldn't like to invest in something that we are not seeing any feedback or something. So, per your experience, have you noticed how like monetization has really helped you? Because to me, I've tried monetization, and to me, right, I didn't see the outcome of it well. Maybe, but if you can possibly share more knowledge and idea about such aspects, I would be really glad to hear. Thank you very much. I'm
Yeah,
Bright.
sure, of course. Yes, that's very true. Now, here's a key, and I'll give this to you. Remember what I said. You grow your crowd, you grow your money. The percentage of people that follow me online that actually give or purchase products is about 13%. So take about 13% out of 2.6 million followers. That's not a lot of people per capita. However, I'm able to do well because I grew the audience. Unfortunately, you're not going to monetize a lot if you don't have a large audience, and you're not going to monetize a lot if you don't have an engaged audience. So the goal here is to grow your audience. How do you grow your audience? You grow by creating engaging content. Okay, getting people to comment, getting people to like, getting people to share. Now, one of the greatest ways to do that, I'll give you a tip. Intimate meeting. Anything you post, always demand a response in the comments. That's been my key. In fact, let me show you something here. I'll do this for you real quick. I'll pull it up on Facebook. Okay. Let's see. Yesterday, I made a post, and I simply said, I just need 1,000 people who want it to type favor, right? I just need 1,000 people who want it to type favor. This post, as of right now, this was put up 24 hours ago, has 10,884 likes. Okay. Now, what did that do? That created a post that now has 311,674 views. All because I said type favor. Why does that work like that? Because comments show up in their timeline, which makes your post show up as if they shared it. This post only has 123 shares, but it has 10,800 plus comments. And because of that, it reached 311,000 plus people. That's almost 500,000, all because of the comments. So create content online that demands a response in the comments. If it's something simple, if your business is called, I don't know, some of your businesses on here, right? Type a word that has to do with the success of your business. If you're into, say, for example, landscaping, all right, you can put up a post of your landscaping business. I'm just using this for an example, but you can put up a post of your landscaping business, and then you can say, go to the comments and type beautiful land. And then people will just see that and say, oh, that's nice, beautiful land. Every time they comment, it shows up in their timeline as something they responded to. And then more people that aren't following you will see the post that their friend commented on. And then who knows, they'll see that post of your beautiful landscaping. They say, oh man, I need that done in my yard. Let me follow this page because I know somebody who follows it. And then the cycle continues. Remember what I said, it's the consistency. The more people you get interacting with you online, the more people will follow you online. The more people who follow you, the larger your audience grows, and the larger your audience, the larger your monetization. Now, here's the second part of that question. I do monetize through Facebook, but the majority of my monetization is through what I gave you earlier as a strategy. I make my own personal income app visible. So I'm not waiting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, I get a nice check from Facebook, but the check that I get from Facebook is not as much as I accumulate weekly by people going straight to my website and giving a donation, or them going straight to my website and buying my products, and me traveling every week around the world to speak. Are you following me? So even when I do post a book, I'm not posting the book so that they can buy it from Facebook Marketplace. I post the book and I send them to a link that goes to my website so that I keep 100% of the income. Are you following me? So make sure that you create interaction, because interaction serves as a share, and interaction shows up to people that don't know you but are following the people who are interacting with you. And don't depend solely on Facebook's monetization mechanism. Monetize through your own PayPal, through your own Cash App, through your own Zelle, through your own apps that you can share on your pages that will send people directly to you versus them purchasing your product, or you're waiting for Facebook ad spends to pay you. All right. I hope I made that very clear. I've created my own platforms for monetization, but I use social media to garner the crowd that I then direct to my own website. I hope that helps.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it seems everyone soaked your presentation. There's not many
Please,
questions.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Marcus Gill, please,
Yes.
you mentioned that confidence without humility is arrogance, and humility without confidence is weakness. So it almost look like humility and confidence work intuitively together. So my question is, how do you develop a confident mindset while staying humble?
Very good. It's one thing that you have to imitate from others. The way that I developed it was, I found people who I could sense their confidence while also sensing their humility.
Okay.
All right. And so, for example, I don't know if you can tell that I'm confident, right? But I'm
Sure.
sure you can still sense that I have a very humble spirit, right? Being confident is going to require you speaking life over yourself, telling yourself, I am well, I'm the best at what I do, I'm the greatest in my field. Nobody in my city, nobody in my community can outshine me. Speaking those words to yourself and then manifesting it in your performance. When you say those words to others, you'll come off as arrogant. But if you speak it to yourself, what does it do? It motivates your inner will. You build up an interpersonal relationship with confidence. And the more and more you build up your will and you build up your esteem, when you step out to perform, you are now confident because you spoke over yourself. And you can still remain humble by not exuding it verbally to others, but letting it be demonstrated in your actions.
Okay. I get it.
Know who you are. Don't build confidence by comparing yourself to others, but build confidence and and leveling up yourself to people that you want to be like.
Okay, so meaning the confidence is in the awareness of oneself, and the humility is acknowledging other people's presence or their senses, considering their feeling as well.
Very much. Always be willing to exude humility by taking time with people. That's the best way to do it. When people can sense that you're okay with them, you can have a conversation. I believe Ben probably been to one of my book signings before, right? In New York, we met in New York. I believe it was New York or Miami, but I think it was New York.
Yeah, New York.
You know, you have a whole line of
Yes.
people waiting for a book, and guess what? I stand there, I sign the books. I'm not just saying, thank you, okay, get on, move on. No, every person who approached the table with a book, I take a moment with that person to have a conversation, look them in the eye, ask them what their name is. All right, where you're from. How long have we been connected? Do you know how much people appreciate you taking a moment to be humble enough to converse with them and let them know you're willing to take time to bless their life? While at the same time, you're very confident. You can be that way because you are confident. You're not insecure.
Okay.
So always boost yourself. It's an inner manifestation. But when you get around others, always show yourself kind and friendly without allowing people to disrespect you. All right? But being willing to show others that they are just as worthy as you are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to mention, I think you need to be commended. You have over 2.4 million followers on Facebook. I don't know how many you have across all the platforms, but some way, somehow, like from my own experience, you are able to make time to respond personally to, DMs and Instagram. And I think that's very, very commendable, because not many people with that amount of clout and followers are able to do that. So I'd like to thank you for that and commend you for that.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed because of it. Let's say it like that. I'd rather be that way than be like so many other my colleagues. I like being a people person. You want to be approachable. This is all a part of networking.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll have to start wrapping up. We've done over an hour so far. So again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and you'll be given the opportunity to ask a question. Okay, back to wealth creation. I've heard it said before that it's easier to create wealth, it's easier to make money than to multiply or manage your money. So I'd want to know, are there some tips or techniques that you personally use to manage and multiply your inflows?
Yeah. I would say the biggest word there, I want to think about this because I want to give you the best answer. I would say that the best has been, as we just mentioned, relationships. Relationships. We can write this down if you want. Relationships are currency. Relationships are our currency. I'm able to multiply because of relationships. Here's a thought about the favor of God on that, right? Some people think the favor of God just falls from the sky. It's just going to fall from heaven. Oh, there's the favor of God, But the favor of God, it works through people. All right? The right person liking you is what opens the next door for you. I remember when I visited Nigeria, I was with the woman of God's house, me and my team, and Pastor Odoyume. We were at her house, and her neighbor, you won't believe this, her next door neighbor, literally, she lives here. The street that they pull up on is maybe 8 feet wide, the little driveway. And right across the street from her on that little 8-foot separation is the main living quarters of a man named Dangote. Now, I'm sure you guys know who he is. He's Nigerian. All right. That's a neighbor. And we're eating and we're watching him pull up in his G-Wagon and all of his bodyguards and soldiers follow him. The richest black man in the world lives literally 8 feet from her house. And we're watching this guy get in and get out, and we're saying hello. We're shaking hands with him. Now, no, he didn't write me a check and make me rich or nothing like that in that time. However, if he wanted to, write me a check for $1 million US, he could have done it and wouldn't have even felt it, wouldn't have even cared one bit, right? So what does that tell us? There are people that God will use to help to multiply your wealth and multiply your reach and multiply your success. Now, I have had people do things of that nature. You meet people in this place, you meet people in that high place, and they invite you to the next level. And then when you get to that level, somebody else at another level recognizes you. So who is this guy? And then they invite you to the next level. And then the cycle continues. So constant elevation, constant multiplication. I believe the seed for that is the willingness to build relationships, because God will use people to bless you. God will use people to introduce you. God will use people to expose you. And it's through those conversations and through your demonstrations of excellence that people recognize your greatness, and then they're willing to go above and beyond in participating in your prosperity.
Okay, I don't think you quite answered the question. I was asking for strategies for growing your wealth. Maybe I didn't articulate it clearly. How can you grow your wealth?
Okay. So in terms of something that you can do with your actual money.
Yeah, with maybe your allowance or salary. How do you multiply your wealth?
Okay. Gotcha. All right. I got you. So number one, investments. Here in America, for us, the number one investment strategy for multiplying your wealth is real estate. All right. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 properties here in the United States, pieces of land and homes. One of them is a small apartment complex that you've taken a little money into. You get a mortgage here and let the real estate value increase on that property over the years. I've had properties, and I have properties now that have literally doubled in value. I have one property that, thanks be to God, multiplied in value 3 times over. All right. And so real estate investments is the number one. I know that's here. I don't know if it's the same where you live in Ghana, but here in America, real estate is the number one investment platform. If you can buy into real estate, you will see your money multiply. It comes in asset form, but in due time, if you decide to sell, that return on investment will make you very, very, very happy. That's number one. Number two, you have CDs, you have long-term investment strategies through your banks and through investors. Like I said, it may not be the same language or the same platforms that we have here, but long-term investments, IRAs, things like that are always beneficial in terms of long-term. Also, you want to keep in mind life insurance policies. All right. Life insurance policies, investor insurance policies are very good ways to build wealth. All right. These are long-term investments. Of course, the life insurance policies are going to make your children and your children's children, or maybe your spouse, wealth at the term of your demise. However, there are some life insurance policies. I'm not quite an expert on it. I've had others explain it to me, but there are life insurance policies that turn into cash out investments, and you don't have to die before you can pull large lump sums of money out based upon what you've invested into those policies over the years. Cryptocurrency, I believe in it. I know a lot of people are skeptical about it, but I have investments in cryptocurrencies through Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash, as well as Litecoin. And I have seen those investments go up and rise and increase and multiply over the years. So those work well for me also. So in terms of multiplying quickly, Yes, the relationship piece that I gave you is a part of it because that is an investment. The more you advertise yourself, the more relationships you build, the more opportunities come your way. So that does flip your income as well. But on a more uh, in paper form, should I say, real estate, real estate, real estate. If you can invest in real estate, even the smallest properties, and find ways to flip those properties or rent them out, lease them, and get monthly income to pay off the mortgage balance or whatever that you may get to purchase it. These are the quickest ways to see that wealth accumulate, to see your investment, your ROI double, multiply. And like in my case, I've had properties to even triple. One property I purchased for about $650,000 a few years ago. And now that same property is worth $1.8 million. I've had properties that I've invested $300,000 into, and those properties are worth $800,000 now. Land masses that I bought for $20,000 now worth $100,000 here and there. And property that was given to me in Jamaica, it was actually given to me. That property was very, very low in its dollar amount, but is now worth over $180,000. So it's asset wealth, but wealth is wealth. If you sell at the right time or at the time that you feel you need to, that is large lump sums of money sitting in your bank account. And you'll be very, very, very happy in the end. In fact, I was given a tip, and I have to say this, and I have to put the word allegedly on it because I don't want you to take it as advice. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Anything that you invest in is never guaranteed. But one of my good friends who owns one of the largest farms in California, CBD farms, he told me to get into Bitcoin Cash. Put $300-400 US dollars in Bitcoin Cash if you can. In about 5 years, apparently, our wives and husbands and children, family members and friends are going to be real happy that we did that in 2025. So that's just a little tip I'll give you. Bitcoin Cash is supposedly going to make a big jump in a few years. So if you put $300-400 in there now, you'll make your family really happy. So I hope that answered your question just a little bit better.
Perfectly well. Thanks very much. So it seems you've been on a winning streak with your investments. I'm curious, how do you decide which instruments to go in for?
You know, I was just simply told by mentors, hey, you need to get real estate. You need to buy property. So I went and bought my first property. This was back in 2018. Flipped it, saw the value increase, sold it, and got another property. Saw the value increase, sold it. And then now I'm at the point where I have multiple properties, some that I have sold, some that I have held on to as rental properties. There's an elderly family living in one of my homes and another family living in another home of mine in North Carolina, another elderly couple living in a house that I have in New York. And we also have a small acre of farmland where we produce chickens, or not, we produce eggs and vegetables in the local community there. And I'm praying, asking God to give me a strategy on how to expand that. But mentorship, I was just simply told by somebody who knows, go and purchase property. Purchase property, get a mortgage, pay it, let the property value increase, and go cash out or hold on to it and let it turn into residual income. Let it pay for itself. And as it's paying for itself, the values continue to increase. And if you sell it, you sell up those assets, you put large lump sums of money in the bank. You make your family very happy.
I believe that goes back to what you said earlier on about teachability, and that you must make sure that you have a humble heart and into correction and advice from others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
So I think we have to wrap up. Can I ask you two more questions? One, I believe you're regularly in the company of wealthy people, wealthy individuals, other wealthy individuals. What have you observed about their habits, their money habits, and maybe social habits that you believe distinguishes them from other folks?
I'll give you one big one because we have time. All right. One big one is that they are quietly wealthy. They are quietly wealthy. And that distinguishes them big time. They are quietly wealthy. What do you mean? They're not flashy. They're not trying to be seen. They don't want everybody to know what they have. I posted a picture the other day. I was on a private jet. I flew a private jet to Florida. And of course, our generation loves that kind of stuff, And so I put up the picture. It was me sitting in the chair, flying, looking out the window. You can see the pilots in the back. So, I was in the air, And I posted the picture. It was a little vain. I'll be honest with y'all. It was vain. I wanted to, hey, that's a cool picture, man. Put it on social media. Picture got about 8,000 likes. Then one of my mentors sent me a screenshot. And he said, hey, man, he put the words, shh. And I knew what he meant. And so I quickly took the picture down, because anytime you're corrected by greatness, it's an opportunity to be invited into greatness. People like that care about you. So he wanted me to learn a lesson on being quiet, all right? Being quiet with my wealth, being quiet with my advancement financially. And that's one of the things that stands out to me with them. They're very quiet with it. Another thing that stands out, their yes is their yes, their no is their no. They're very firm on that. There's no beating around the bush. It's either yes or it's no. All right. And then number three, they don't move fast. All right. When it comes to money, when it comes to spending, when it comes to investments, even when it comes to helping people, they do not move fast. They move very slow. They think before they act, and they calculate their moves precisely. And I believe that has been the door opener for their success. And I've learned those traits from them, and I've taken on those character traits as well.
A quick follow-up. How have you managed to manage your relationships with these wealthy individuals? Any tips you would mind sharing?
Yeah. Let's do three. Three ways that I manage those relationships. Number one, I don't ask them for anything but wisdom. It's number one. Never ask them for money. I only ask for wisdom. All right? That's number one. Number two, I am not overly communicative. All right? I don't talk too much when I'm around them. I don't bug them. I don't call every day, every week. All right? Even when I'm in their presence, I'm very quiet. I'm not insertive. I just listen. I take notes. And they honor that. Whenever people of great wisdom and great value hear you asking questions and they see you taking notes when they talk, I'm telling you, you become somebody that they always want to be around. That kind of, it strokes their ego a little bit in a good way. Because they say, this is a young man or this is a young woman who really admires my thinking. They take me seriously. They're not wasting my time. They feel as if their time with you is being valued because they see that you're listening, you're taking notes. So they want to continue to be with you. Anytime I call any of them for lunch, they're ready to go with me because they know if they get with Marcus, this is not going to be a waste of their time. They know that they're going to mean something to me and that their time is going to mean something. All right. So I don't ask for money ever, only ask for wisdom. When I'm with them, I'm not highly communicative. I listen, take notes. All right. And then number three, I find a way to serve them. All right. I find a way to serve them. I discover something they need and I work to meet that need. That way they know that you're not just looking to pull from them, but you're also there to pour into them. It doesn't matter how much money a person has. They always need people in their life who will meet one of their needs. Everybody has needs. So you may not have the multi-million dollars in your bank account that one man has, but he needs something. And if you find out something they need and you meet that need, you're connected for life. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay. I think I'll do one final call for questions. I've seen David Lai. Do you have any questions or submissions? David is the former leader of the Students' Representative Council at Regent University in Ghana.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. I guess he's soaking everything up. All right. We have
My questions have already been asked, and they've been answered. Well, thank you so much for your submission.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, and Bright, he came in earlier. He's also a former student leader as well at Regent University.
Wonderful. Maybe we should put something together at Regent University in person. Who knows?
Yeah, and that would be brilliant. Virtual, and hopefully we host you in Ghana.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Brother Ben. You're a highly esteemed man. You're a blessing. You are consistent. You're excellent in all you do. And I'm sure your friends and those that are connected with you here would say the same about you in terms of your excellence and your consistency. I say to you, keep going, keep rising, keep elevating. Everybody who's on here, you have something very special on your life. You're top class. You're the head and not the tail. You're above only and not beneath. And I believe that for all of you, the rest of this year, my prayer for you is that everything you're working on, everything that you dream of, all of your visions and your aspirations, I speak over your life right now that it will prosper. You will have good success. In fact, greater success than what you even expecting. May God bless you in above and beyond measure. And you'll see it come to pass. Because what you expect, you'll experience in Jesus' name. That's what I believe as a man of God. I'm still a man of God. So I believe that as a man of God for all of you, that you will experience what you expect. And God will do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Marcus. It's been a brilliant, insightful, and excellent session. You've been very generous with your time, with your insights, and with your experiences. And I really appreciate how you've shared so much about your own personal life and personal experiences. And I believe I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that it's been a very impactful and empowering and transformative session tonight. And we hope to learn from you again sometime soon. And
absolutely,
my goal is to
eliminate, educate, and elevate. Now, I pray that that's happened today.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtains to our session on wealth creation and the global economy. And I'd like to use this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for connecting to today's session. It's been very insightful, and I hope you would connect again and for future sessions. And at this juncture, also thank our technical lead, Enoch Damte. He's helping us with the recording of today's session. So in case you would like to re-watch or re-listen to tonight's session, you can look for the Mind and Heart series on YouTube, and you'll get the recording when it's uploaded. So once again, thank you so much. And thank you once again, Pastor Marcus Gill. And my name is Ben Larbi, and I hope to connect with all of you again sometime soon.